Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me again this morning on Next on the Tee. I'm your host, Chris Mascaro, and today I have two-time winner on the PGA Tour, J.L. Lewis, with me, and he's going to be next on the tee in just a few moments. We're going to talk to him about his playing career, great website that he has gotten put together, a fantastic book of tips that all of us should be carrying around in our bags. So I look forward to talking with JL, like I say, in just a few moments. But before we get started, we want to kick off the show by saluting the brave men and women serving in our military and everyone listening in on the Armed Forces Radio Network. We thank you for your daily sacrifices in keeping the rest of us safe. We also want to thank those of you who have served or are currently serving in every branch of the military and public service. We truly appreciate what you do to preserve our freedom and our liberty. It's through your strength and efforts that our way of life is possible. Our sincere thanks as well to Sean Cruz and Stephen Lee and all the folks at Armed Forces Radio. It's an honor for us to be a part of your network. You can find our show by going to armedforcesradionetwork.org and clicking on the sports link that you're going to find in the bottom right-hand side of their homepage or the radio link in the upper right-hand corner. Also, be sure to give those guys a follow on Twitter. You can find them at the AFRN for the Armed Forces Radio Network. And like I say, joining me now is PGA Tour Pro and two-time winner J.L. Lewis. Let me give you some background on J.L. He's from Emporia, Kansas, and started playing golf at the age of 7. He won the Emporia Country Club Championship twice before graduating high school. He went to Emporia State University on a golf scholarship, but later transferred to Southwest Texas State. In 1983, his team won the Division II Golf Championship. He finished second overall and earned first-team All-American honors. He was inducted into his High School Hall of Fame in 2001, the Texas State University Hall of Fame in 2002. Qualified for the tour in 1988, was named Player of the Year for the Southwest section of the PGA. He's won twice on the tour, the 1999 John Deere Classic and the 2003 84 Lumber Classic. He also won once internationally at the 99 Honda Invitational in Mexico, and his birthday is next Friday, so happy birthday a bit early, JL, and thank you for joining me this morning.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me on.
So, JL, let's start all the way back at the beginning. Started playing golf at the age of 7. Who got you interested at such a young age?
My parents joined the little country club there in Emporia, and we just started there, and I never really stopped after that. So I played all the sports up through high school, but
right,
just kind of stuck with golf, you know.
So as you mentioned, yeah, you were a well-rounded athlete growing up in high school. You lettered in football, basketball, and golf.
Yeah.
So how did golf end up being the one you stuck with versus the other two?
Well, I just realized that I wasn't going to be a professional basketball player, so I had to stick with golf. But I always loved the game, and I like the fact that you know, it was all about the individual. It wasn't about the team. So you know, if you played well, you got rewarded for it, and I like that part of it. So, and I like to practice. I like to practice a lot too. So is that
right?
I gravitated towards it. So that's how I ended up with it.
That's usually the side of the game that most guys don't like, is having to, all the practice and beating balls and that sort of thing. How come you like it so much?
I don't know why. I always have been kind of a hard practicer. Even in basketball, I practiced a lot, but I just enjoyed it. I enjoy practicing as much as I enjoy playing, and so I think that's why I was able to play on the tour for so long, because the practice rounds for me were just as much fun as the regular days. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a good thing.
Yeah. So you were a prodigy almost right out of the chute. Now, how did guys at your club react, to you winning the club championship twice at such a young age?
Well, I got started when I was really young, and you know, my parents would take me up there, and it was a 9-hole country club, and all those people, they all kind of raised me, you know, and so I would play golf with them all day long, and so I was playing sometimes 54 holes a day, you know.
Wow.
As a kid. In the summer we'd play all day, and then you know, by the time I was 12, I could probably shoot around 80, and then I just, as I got older, I started getting a little bit better and got pretty good at high school. You know, I think I got second in the state in high school or something like that. So
right.
I just kind of, you know, I was pretty athletic. You know, I was an all-state basketball player, so it I don't want to say it came easy for me, but it didn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, don't do that.
It wasn't hard for me to be athletic. So I think that
right.
really helped me a lot. Yeah.
So you started your college career at home there at Emporia State on a golf scholarship, but you transferred over to Southwest Texas State. What got you to, you know, go from Emporia to Southwest Texas?
Well, I wanted to go somewhere warmer, you know, where we could play more in the winter and summer, and I knew I was probably going to turn pro. And I knew once I turned professional, I was going to need a place to live where I could practice, you know. And I moved to Austin, and I had a girlfriend. I ended up getting married and finished college down there, and we're still married. We have 2 kids and 2 grandkids now. So
wow.
So that all worked out good, and we've had a pretty good life. But I enjoy Austin. The Austin area is really, I don't know if you've ever been here, but it's really grown, and it's really become kind of a mecca for golf. There's a lot of great golfers that live here. There's a lot of great golf courses here, and in the wintertime, you know, you can play pretty much all the time. You get a few bad days, but not very many. And
right.
so it's a good place. And you know, like I say, I had to work on my game, so this was the place to do it. So that's why I made the move. And you know, I kind of miss Kansas every once in a while, but not really in the winter at all. So you know,
I bet not.
No, I go back in the summer, but I don't really go back there in the winter. It's 2 foot of snow and ice, you know, everywhere. So down here it's about 75 all winter. So I like that better.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
So you qualified for the tour in '88. Talk about the process and how you were able to go about making your way finally out there.
Well, you know, my wife and I got married when we were I was 22. It was 1980. We got married in '82, and we started a family in '84, and that's about the same time I got out of college. And so I worked in a golf shop from '84 to '89. And in '89, I was working at Las Vegas Country Club, and I got a sponsor, and I went out and qualified for the tour. And so I quit my job and started traveling, and didn't do very well the first year, but I ended up playing a year, got some experience, and then kept going. And I had some other jobs in the next few years. I was a head pro at a club for 3 years, and I was an assistant at another club for a year. And then in '95, I got my card again, and I pretty much kept my card from then on. I lost it in '95, but I got my nationwide card in '97, I think it was, and then from then on I've had a tour card. So that's kind of how it went. You know, I had to keep working at it. We didn't have a lot of money or anything, so it was all about perseverance for me.
So, I mean, clearly, you know, J.L., you had the talent. I mean, you know, right off the bat, I mean, you're Southwest Player of the Year, right, in '88, '89?
Yeah, well, that was in the club pro ranks. You know, I was doing really well in all that stuff, and I won the Southern Texas section a couple times, and won a bunch of local stuff around here, second in the state open and things like that. But I never really done anything on a national level. So after I got going, I started getting a little bit better, and hey, Carol. Anyway, yeah. So it all kind of came together when I was about 35 years old, I guess. I'd been out there a while, and I kind of got used to it, and kept grinding away until I could get the job done. So
yeah, to your point, from 88 to 99, you're out there on tour before you broke through and got your first win. Was it enjoyable just being out on tour playing, or does it become a grind at some point?
Well, it's fun. If you're making cuts and making money and getting to play on the weekends, it's really fun. But when you miss the cut, it's really not fun. I mean, you've traveled and you get to see new places, and I've played every golf course on the tour about 25 different times. So 20 years.
Right.
So I've played them all a lot. So it's not like, after you've made the trips a few times, there's places. I like being at the places, but I don't really like getting to them. so
yeah.
The planes and everything that gets
right.
kind of old after a while. But places like Pebble Beach, I mean, it's I can take you to any major city that we ever went to now, and I know all the streets and I know all the restaurants, and so I could be a tour guide. I mean, that's what the tour teaches you. You go to all those cities,
right.
20 weeks out of your life in New York, and 20 weeks in Chicago, and 20 weeks in L.A., Pebble Beach 24 times. So
wow.
So when you have that kind of experience at those locations, you get to you meet all these neat people around the country and different places. So I've got friends. We have friends all over the place, that we kind of stay in contact with them as much as we can. And I haven't been in contact with them the last year or so because I've been home. But, if we ever go to those towns, I look them up. And
right.
That's kind of a neat deal, too. You really, I guess you get cultured or socialized or whatever you want to call it, because you meet all these different people in different places, Every place is a little different, and that's kind of cool. So I'm glad that I got to experience that. My kids got to experience that. My wife homeschooled our kids, and for about the last, 10 years I was out there, they all traveled together, so they got to go to all those places, and they've been to every, museum and park and places that you can think of in the United States. So that was
that's
cool,
great.
Yeah. My kids have been all over, and they both decided they wanted to live in Austin, so I was happy about that.
There you go.
So the grandkids are around us, and that's pretty fun. So they've been everywhere, so they know what's out there in the world. They don't have to go and see what California's like. They've been there.
Right. Yeah.
A bunch. So that's kind of a neat part of it. But I enjoy the competition. I enjoyed the friends I made, and I enjoyed the fact that I was able to do something that I really loved, for a living. So that's a big thing. A lot of people don't get to do that. So
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So, J.L., last week I had Bobby Clampin on with me, and he said after a few years of not winning, he had a lot of people in his ear, trying to change his swings. He had different coaches, and they changed his swing to this and changed his swing to that. And, through the course of all that, he completely lost himself. Did you have people during that, 88 to 99 spread, people, in your ear trying to change what you were doing?
Well, early in my career, I did. I took lessons from everybody. I had lessons from Ledbetter and Hank Haney and Dick Harmon and Bob Toski, all different people. And I finally settled in with a guy named Bill Moretti down here at the Academy of Golf, and I've stuck with him the whole time since '95 on. And he's kind of molded my whole career as far as how I approach, especially how I approach teaching the game, because now I'm giving about, I don't know, I guess somewhere between 50 and 100 lessons a month, at the club where I work. So I do a lot of teaching, and he was the Academy of Golf Dynamics guy. For years, he owned a school there, and so he's been kind of my main guy for about the last 20 years. So I have to give him credit for kind of getting me straightened out, and he didn't really change me a lot. He just kind of perfected what I had, and I never tried to change my swing after that. That's the thing I'm probably most proud of is, I just kept sticking with the same thing. I thought I had good mechanics, and we worked on mechanics, and basically that's all there was to it. And you know, thinking positive and good mechanics, and I was always a pretty good ball striker, so I never really changed my swing. I was glad that I was smart enough to not try to do that. I mean, it's really easy to get sucked into it. I mean, and it seems like the right thing to do, and everybody's always looking to be, you know, better than what they are. I mean, that's just a natural thing. I mean, everybody wants that, but you know, sometimes good is good enough, and you have to just kind of be satisfied with that. And trying to make good into great, sometimes you can screw it up. I mean, you know, that's what Moretti tells me all the time about teaching golf. He says that he doesn't like teaching tour players because he goes, they come in and they have an almost perfect swing, and he said he never uses a camera with a tour player because if you show it to them on camera, they're going to try to make it even more perfect. It's already great, you know. So he said they'll screw themselves up for 6 months trying to make one little move in their swing that's not going to help them any. So he said, and he never uses a camera, and he said it's harder to teach really good players than it is to teach like a 15 handicapper. You know, you can really help a guy like that pretty fast and improve him a lot. You know, he can go from 15 to 8 or something like that. It's much easier to do that than take a 4 handicapper and turn him into a +2 or something. So I've learned a lot from Moretti. I owe him a lot. I mean, he's really helped me over the years. But he's the one he helped me out with that book too. I wrote the book, and he checked all the tips and everything, and you know, and he that book is very good. It's very self-explanatory, easy to read. You know, simple stuff that you know, you got to keep it simple for people. You know, if you make it too complex, you know, they go past something they don't understand, and once you go past something you don't understand, you just kind of shut your brain off and you stop learning. So that's how I approach it. Yeah, you know, it's just like being in a class, you know, and the teacher starts talking, and if you don't understand everything that's being said, I mean, you know, from that point on, you're just kind of sitting there going, wait a minute, you know, what about this? I still don't understand this over here.
Right.
So it seems kind of elementary, but I've really had a lot of success teaching people that way. So I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, J.L., this week they're playing the John Deere Classic up at the TPC at Deer Run up in Illinois, the event where you got your first win. I believe the year you won, I think, actually was the first ever John Deere Classic.
Right. That was the first time they had the tournament there. Well, that was the last time they had it at Oak. I can't remember it was the first Pete Dye golf course ever built, and then the next year they went and built a new golf course called Deer Run. Right. I won the last year on the old course, and it's kind of a neat little country golf course with push-up greens, and you know, it's not as easy as you would think it would be, but anyway, that was fun. I enjoyed that. It was at a time where I needed to win. I was like 150th or 60th on the money list, and I'd done okay a couple of times, but you know, I got up in there and started hitting the ball really well and played really good that week, and then the next week I played good at the PGA, and then after that I had I think I had 40 top 10s or something like that over the course of my career. So I had a lot of good weeks. I had weeks that, you know, I should have won San Diego. I was one stroke up with one hole to go and lost that tournament. And then I was John Deere. I had the lead going to 17, knocked it over the green, made bogey, lost that tournament. So you remember the ones that you probably should have won. And then, you know, a couple of times I kind of got a couple of breaks and won. I mean, you have to be a little bit lucky. People don't realize that luck is a big part of that. I mean, but if you take enough shots at it, sooner or later, you know, you're going to
law of averages.
The law of averages are going to catch up with you. And you know, if you're close, you're going to get in there. And you know, you see it every week on the tour if you watch the tournaments. I mean, some guy is playing like crazy, you know, and he gets up in there and he's got a chance to win. And once in a while he does it, and more often than not he doesn't do it. I mean, that's what people don't realize. You know, unless you're a superstar talent like a Tiger Woods or a Mickelson or somebody like that who who can close the deal pretty much consistently. There's not very many people who've been able to do that. Most of them win a few times, but they lose a lot more than they win because the talent level's so high. And you can't really make mistakes, and you have to be lucky too. So there's a lot of factors involved in that.
So when you won that John Deere, JL, you had an opening round 66 followed by 3 65s. So to the layman, you might look at that and go, "Wow, that was an easy course." But when you think about it's a different type of, to me, it's a different type of pressure. U.S. Open pressure is, you're striving, hoping to, for 9 times out of 10, shoot even par. You figure even par is going to win that thing. But when you're in a tournament and guys are firing 62s and 63s at you, you got to keep making birdies, right? Yeah. We
were talking about that the other day. That my game would be more suited for a U.S. Open because I'm usually pretty accurate and I'm not the greatest putter in the world. I'm streaky, but I'm an okay putter. I'm not a great putter though, but I usually ball striking was my strength, and you wouldn't think that I would have won tournaments where you're shooting 22 under par, but those particular weeks, I just seemed to make several more putts, and I the ball striking was really good, but I would have thought I would have won like at Hilton Head or I got close to Memorial a couple of times. That's a ball striker's golf course. Colonial, places like that. But I never did. I got some top tens in those places, but I never did win there. But those courses are more suited to my game. It just the way it turned out, I got hot at the right time, and like I said, I'm a streaky putter. I can go out and have 35 putts one day and then have 22 putts the next day. So, it's thank God every once in a while I get hot. But some guys just have 28 every day. That wasn't me. I mean, I either made them all or I didn't make any of them. But on the tour, it's better to be like that than it is to, have 30 putts every day and finish 40th all the time. At least you can get hot every once in a while and you can actually get in there and do some good. So, it's all about birdies.
Well, I mean, in that event, talk about now. You had to make a birdie putt on 18 just to force a playoff, and then it was a 5-hole playoff, and one of those was 16. You had a hole out from a bunker to extend the playoff. Talk about the pressure of standing over a putt first on 18 just to make the playoff. Yeah, well, when I first hit it up there, I thought the guy had birdied the hole in front of me, so I didn't even know that I was going to be. Until I got on the green, I didn't even know the situation. And then they said, well, if you knock this in, you're going to be in a playoff. And so it was a 2-footer, and I knocked it in there. And then we got going in the playoff, and he was playing very good too. Mike Brisky, he was making putts, and every time he'd make one, I'd make one, or the other way around. And then I'd hold the bunker shot, and he'd made another putt. It was pretty crazy that Byron Nelson told me it was the best playoff he'd ever seen. So nice. I was pretty proud of that, but I bet.
And then after that, it kind of gave me a little confidence that, I really was capable of doing it. And I had some other opportunities. I had opportunities in majors. I mean, if I'd have played good the first round of the British Open in 2004, I would have had a chance to win that. I shot 77th and finished 21st. I played good the last 3 days, but, it just, I think, I always knew that I had enough of physical ability to do it, but until you really do something, you don't really know, if you're capable of it or not, really. I mean, you can say you are. You could say, I should have or I could have or would have or whatever, but until it actually happens, I don't think anybody truly believes it. I mean, it's easy to imagine it, but it's hard to believe it. And so I was fortunate that I got to go ahead and win. And then I understood that, hey, you know what? You can do this, and you can probably do it a lot more times. But I only did it a couple more times, but, hey, it was okay. I had a nice career. And, I had a nice career, and I got to do some things that a lot of people dream about. So I'm very fortunate that way.
Absolutely. Yep. At the conclusion of that, of that tournament, JL, and they're handing you even a ceremonial check for $360,000. What's racing through your head?
Well, the first thing I thought when I was over the putt to win was, I'm going to get in the Masters, and then I made the putt, and then they said, no, they changed the rule this year because first-time winners don't get in the Masters. So I didn't get in the Masters, so I was kind of upset about that. But
I bet.
That was, that was kind of like, the highlight of it all. But I did get in some of the other stuff. But and winning does a lot for you as far as exemptions. And, you get to play in the tournament, you'll win for 10 years. And then you get, plus, once they put PGA Tour winner by your name, it changes your life. It changes your life forever as far as what people's perception of you is. And so, you're not just another guy walking around that's a golf pro. And so it really helps. It really helps in all those ways. But anyway, I'm really glad that it happened.
No doubt.
It was a blessing for sure.
A couple years later, 1994, you're a member of the PGA Cup team, which is like a Ryder Cup team for members of the Professional Golfers Association of America.
Right.
You guys play a team from Europe. The U.S. won. They won because you made a 50-foot birdie putt on the last hole, sort of a la Justin Leonard in the 99 Ryder Cup. How big a thrill was that for you?
You know what? That might have been one of the top 2 or 3 things that's ever happened to me in golf. I'd say it's way up there because, you spend the whole week with a team there, and you're got a common goal in mind, and you get to know these guys from all around the country, and it comes down to one putt and one match. After all the matches are done, that's kind of cool. And so I was fortunate enough to knock that thing in, and we won the cup. So I was excited about that. But that's one of the top 2 or 3 experiences probably in golf that I've ever had. I mean, it's on my wall in my office. It's a big plaque thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you got a picture of that putt going in and your reaction?
No, I don't have the putt, but I have a picture of the team and the plaque, and then there's an article about it. And so it's a pretty cool thing. People come in there and they read it and they go, "Wow, that's pretty cool."
I bet.
Top 10 club pros in the United States against the top 10 in Europe, and we won on the last hole and kept the cup here in the United States for 2 years. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. So going into the 2003 84 Lumber Classic, that was your second win. You were coming off a runner-up finish the week before, so you're playing well. You talk about being streaky, right? You entered the final round in 17th place, and you go out and shoot 62, and you hold out in that tournament to get a win. Talk about that.
Well, the last round was 36 holes, and so we started off, and I wasn't playing all that great, and then I started making birdies, and it just kind of all came together, and I shot 31 on the front and 31 on the back and ended up winning by 2. So it was really, really lucky. Yeah.
You can't get that lucky. You can't get lucky to shoot 62.
Yeah, well, I hit a lot of good shots and made putts, and I holed out a wedge shot, and, things happened, and it just all kind of came together. Everything lined up, so... Anyway, that was fun. It's always
I bet
fun
that was.
Yeah.
You've got a picture on your site of you and your caddy walking up the 13th hole at Augusta National. You mentioned the Masters. Augusta National J.L. is my favorite place on the planet. If God said he would pick me up and put me anywhere on the planet I'd say Augusta National, please.
Yeah.
What was it like when you finally did get your first invitation and the opportunity to drive up Magnolia Lane and play a Masters?
It was really nice. I mean, it's a very private sort of place. A very private place, and it's hard. It's exclusive as heck. You can't get in there even hardly to play a practice round with water.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. But it's a great place. The back nine at Augusta is probably my favorite 9 holes in golf. I mean, so. Anyway, I was happy to be there and get to play, and I missed the cut by 1, so that was kind of frustrating. I 4-putted the second hole. And that hurt me. So anyway, it's a place where, experience is a big deal there. If you've played the course a lot of times, I think it's a pretty big advantage.
Right.
the greens are all tricked up, and they a lot of slope from front to back, and or back to front, and if you hit it in the wrong place there, you just almost can't make a score. So it took me a few days to kind of figure that out. I mean, you'd hit it what you thought was a good shot, and you'd have a 20-foot putt that you couldn't even get close. So you had to just make sure that you hit it on one side of the hole or the other, or you got no chance.
Right. So
yeah.
Having been out on tour for so many years and played so many places, over and over again, if you could play any course on the planet, where would it be?
Well, I'd have to say Cypress Point. It's probably my favorite of all of them. Good. But, Augusta's really nice. Pine Valley, New Jersey, very nice. Memorial's my favorite tournament on the tour. I mean, if I had to pick a golf course I like, that's a great golf course. And so
why is that? Why is that your favorite tournament?
Well, it's just it's a smaller field, and it's they take such good care of the place. I mean, it's manicured like no other. It's manicured like Augusta.
Right.
And so it's just it's just a fantastic deal. I mean, the golf course is just so perfect that you never get a bad lie if you hit a good shot. And I like that. I like being rewarded for good shots, and you really get rewarded there if you hit a good shot. So those are the kind of places that I like.
All right. So just a couple before we let you go, J.L. First, talk about your site. You've got a book on there, The Pocket Pro. Fantastic.
Right.
And, so many tips and that sort of thing. Tell our listeners, A, about your site, and B, about the Pocket Pro book.
Yeah, well, the website, my wife and my daughter kind of put that together, and they did a really good job with it. And that kind of went along with the book, and so we just kind of did them all together. I had these tips written down, and so we kind of went through the tips and narrowed them down to like 130 and got pictures in there, and we've spent a lot of time and a lot of money on it, but it's been a good thing to have because you can send people to it, and it's a good tool. And I'm glad that we did it. And there's a lot of articles and stuff on there that are kind of neat. So if you're interested in golf and you want to know about different stuff, you can go on there and find some good information.
All right. So tell our listeners, what the address is of your site, and also how they can follow you on social media as well.
It's JLLewisGolfTips.com, and then it's also that's it. That's the site. So
okay,
you can find the book and everything on there. It's JLLewisGolfTips.com. So,
and you're out there on Twitter as well, right?
Well, my daughter answers all the requests and stuff, but I see some of them. She mostly does that, but I don't really have time for that. I'm pretty busy. I've got a job, and I'm at the club about 60 or 70 hours a week, and I'm teaching golf lessons, running tournaments. I mean, I'm just a regular golf pro now. I don't really I don't get to play much. I'm playing in a little deal this weekend, but it's just kind of a fun thing. It's not really a competitive. It's competition, but it's not. There's no money or anything. We're just playing.
Right. All right.
Right.
So, JL, who do you like this? Who do you like next week at the British?
You know what? Probably Justin Rose. Or
playing very well.
Yeah, he's good. And then there's a couple of Adam Scott. Adam Scott's probably got the best swing of all of them. And Rose is very good. Scott's good. I don't know about Woods. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how healthy he is. If he's really healthy and he plays good, he could win there. But he will win again. But I don't know if it's going to be this year. I mean, those back surgeries, that takes a lot longer to heal than people think.
No doubt.
Yeah, he's not healed up yet for sure. I mean, he might think he's healed up, but you don't really get your strength and everything back for a while. So anyway, but he will win again. I don't know if he'll beat Jack's record, but he'll win again.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, JL, thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to join me. You're a fantastic guest. I hope you'll come back and join me again sometime. I'd love to hear more of your stories, maybe get your insights to what's going on around the tour. But thank you for being here this morning, and I can't thank you enough for getting up early.
Thanks for having me, okay? Appreciate it.
All right, J.L. Take care. Best of luck to you and your family.
See ya.
Good night. Good day. J.L. Lewis, everybody. JLLewisGolfTips.com, and you can follow him online at JL Lewis Golf as well on Twitter. All right, everybody, it's time to put a bow on this one. My sincere thanks to JL for being a wonderful guest, and for you for tuning in. I appreciate you the very most. Please also check out our sister show, Thursday Night Tailgate, with me and my co-host Bob Lazari and our announcer Joe Lajanusa. You can hear us right here on Armed Forces Radio, as well as Blog Talk Radio, TuneIn, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and radio sites across the Internet, just like you can here next on the tee. Our Thursday night show airs live from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch us here on Saturday mornings starting at 9 a.m. as well. So until next week, hit 'em straight, my friends.